She was dancing with the most dangerous man in Boston, and she had no idea. Rain hammered against the ballroom windows while Cora Whitmore tried not to think about the empty chairs surrounding her at the wedding reception. One belonged to the man who'd abandoned her 6 months ago. The other belonged to her father, dead 3 years now, whose favorite Bartok lullaby still made her chest tighten every time she heard it. Then a stranger walked across the floor toward her. Dark suit, gray eyes cold as winter steel, a faded scar near his temple, and asked her to dance. She said no. He sat down anyway. And when the music shifted to that impossible Bartok melody her father used to play on repeat, this stranger, Liam, stayed silent beside her while the grief crushed through her ribs. She didn't know his last name, didn't know that half the room had gone quiet watching him cross the floor, didn't know that Liam Donovan owned this hotel, this city, this entire blood-soaked empire hidden beneath billion-dollar real estate and luxury hospitality. She just knew that for the first time since her world collapsed, someone sat with her in the wreckage without trying to fix it. If you want to see how far a mafia boss will burn his empire for one woman, stay with me until the end. Hit that like button and drop a comment with the city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Yes, Boston rain fell in sheets the night Cora Whitmore attended her younger sister's wedding alone. Not alone, technically. She had a seat, a name card, a polite smile she'd practiced in the hotel bathroom mirror 3 times before walking into the ballroom. But her fiancé, ex-fiancé, had left 6 months ago with a paralegal from his firm, and her father had been dead for 3 years, and sitting at a round table surrounded by empty chairs felt worse than not coming at all. The Donovan Lansing Hotel ballroom was the kind of space that made everything look expensive. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, white roses arranged like small monuments on every table. Her sister Maya had wanted elegance. Their mother had wanted status. Cora had wanted to skip the entire event and stay home with a bottle of wine and the translated Romanian poetry manuscript sitting unfinished on her desk. She adjusted the strap of her dress, midnight blue silk that Maya insisted she wear, and watched the dance floor fill with couples spinning under soft golden light. Her mother was dancing with Maya's new husband. College friends laughed near the bar. Everyone looked effortlessly happy in that way people did when they hadn't spent the last 6 months wondering what part of themselves had been so fundamentally broken that someone could just walk away mid-engagement without explanation. Cora reached for her wine glass. Then someone sat down across from her. Not at the table next to hers. Not passing through. Directly across from her at the table meant for family. She looked up. The man wore a black suit tailored so precisely it looked painted on. Dark hair pushed back from his forehead. Gray eyes that didn't blink enough. A scar above his right temple. Thin, faded, old. He looked maybe 35, maybe older. The kind of face that made you forget numbers because presence mattered more than age. He didn't smile. He just sat. "You look like you could use company," he said. His voice was low, calm. The kind of voice that didn't need volume to carry weight. Cora blinked. "I'm fine." "I didn't ask if you were fine." She stared at him. He stared back without flinching. Around them, the ballroom hummed with music and laughter and champagne toasts. But this man, whoever he was, sat perfectly still, like someone used to waiting. "Do I know you?" Cora asked slowly. "No." "Are you friends with Maya?" "No." "Then why are you sitting here?" He tilted his head slightly. "You refused to dance when 3 different men asked you. You've been sitting alone for 40 minutes, and you keep looking at that empty chair like it's a wound that won't close." Cora's chest tightened. "That's none of your business." "You're right," he said. "It's not." But he didn't move. Cora should have told him to leave, should have stood up and walked away, should have done literally anything except sit there staring at this stranger who somehow saw through every polite lie she'd been telling herself all night. Instead, she asked, "Who are you?" "Liam." "Just Liam?" For now. The band shifted into something slower, a waltz. Cora recognized the melody before the first verse even started. Her breath caught. Bartok. The same lullaby her father used to play on the old upright piano in their living room when she was 7 years old. The same melody he'd hum while cooking dinner. The same song that had played at his funeral while Cora stood at the podium, unable to speak because grief had wrapped around her throat like barbed wire. She gripped the edge of the table. Liam's eyes flicked toward the dance floor, then back to her. "You know this song." It wasn't a question. Cora nodded once. She didn't trust her voice. "Someone important?" he asked quietly. "My father." Liam didn't say he was sorry, didn't offer empty comfort. He just sat there across from her while the Bartok lullaby filled the ballroom, and Cora tried not to let the tears building behind her eyes spill over in front of a complete stranger. When the song finally ended, Liam leaned back in his chair. "You should leave," he said. Cora frowned. "What? This isn't your night. It's hers." He nodded toward the dance floor where Maya spun in her wedding dress, laughing. "You're allowed to go home." "I can't just leave." "Why not?" "Because she's my sister." "And you love her," Liam said. "But sitting here pretending you're not miserable doesn't help anyone." Cora wanted to argue, wanted to defend herself. But he was right. She hated that he was right. "I'll stay until the cake," she said finally. Liam almost smiled. Almost. "All right." He stood, adjusted his cufflinks, started to walk away. Then he paused. "The empty chair," he said without turning around. "Was it the father or someone else?" Cora swallowed. "Someone else." Liam nodded once, then he disappeared into the crowd. Cora didn't see him again for the rest of the reception. She stayed for the cake, stayed for the toasts, stayed until her mother hugged her and whispered, "You did good tonight, sweetheart," in that voice that meant, "I know you're hurting, but I'm proud of you anyway." Then she grabbed her coat and slipped out into the rain. The Donovan Lansing Hotel was the kind of place that had 3 separate valet stations. Cora stood under the covered entryway watching black cars pull up one after another, couples laughing as they climbed into warm leather seats, drivers opening umbrellas. She didn't have a car here. She'd taken the train. The rain came down harder. A black sedan pulled up in front of her. The back window rolled down. "Liam." He leaned toward the open window. "Get in." Cora stepped back. "I'm fine. You're about to walk to the train station in heels and a silk dress in a rainstorm. I'll call a cab. It's midnight on a Saturday. You'll be waiting 20 minutes. He pushed the door open from inside. "Get in." Cora hesitated. Every instinct told her not to get into a car with a stranger, but something about Liam felt not safe exactly. Just steady. Like someone who understood wreckage without needing to talk about it. She got in. The inside of the car smelled like leather and expensive cologne. Liam sat on the far side of the back seat, arms resting casually along the edge of the window. The driver didn't turn around, didn't speak, just waited. "Where do you live?" Liam asked. "Brookline, near Coolidge Corner." Liam nodded once to the driver. The car pulled smoothly into traffic. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Rain streaked across the windows. The city blurred past in smears of neon and streetlights. Cora kept her hands folded in her lap and tried not to think about how strange this was. Sitting in a car with a man whose last name she didn't even know. "Thank you," she said finally. Liam glanced at her. "For what?" "Sitting with me. Not asking questions." "You didn't need questions." "No," Cora agreed quietly. "I didn't." They lapsed back into silence. The driver took a turn toward Brookline. Buildings shifted from downtown glass towers to brownstones and narrow streets lined with oak trees. Cora watched the familiar neighborhood appear through the rain and felt the tightness in her chest ease slightly. The car stopped in front of her building, a 3-story walk-up with ivy climbing the brick facade. Liam reached past her and opened the door. "Good night, Cora." She froze. "I never told you my name." He met her eyes. "You wore a name card at the table." "Right, of course." Cora stepped out into the rain, turned back. "Will I see you again?" Liam's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. Something careful, deliberate, like a man weighing decisions he hadn't planned to make. "Maybe," he said. Then the door closed, and the car disappeared into the rain-soaked Boston streets. Cora didn't think about Liam for exactly 3 days. Then a package arrived at her door. No return address. No note. Just a plain brown box sealed with tape. Inside was a book. Not new. The spine was cracked. Pages yellowed. A first edition hardcover of collected poems by Paul Celan. German-Romanian translations, 1952 printing. Cora had been searching for this edition for 2 years. Her hands shook as she opened the cover. On the inside flap, someone had written in neat black ink, "For wounds that refuse to close." No signature. She sat on the floor of her studio apartment and stared at the book until her vision blurred. 2 weeks later, another package. This time, a leather-bound journal filled with handwritten French poetry. Not printed, handwritten. Every page carefully copied in fountain pen ink. Cora traced the elegant script with her fingertip and tried to imagine someone sitting alone at a desk transcribing Rimbaud by hand just to send it to her. The note inside read, "Language is the only safe place to hide. Still no signature." Cora stood in the middle of her apartment holding the journal and felt something dangerous begin to bloom inside her chest. She didn't expect to see Liam again. But 3 weeks after the wedding, she returned to the Donovan Lansing Hotel to retrieve Maya's forgotten pearl earring left behind in the bridal suite, and found herself standing in a quiet service corridor on the 3rd floor, staring at an elevator she'd taken a wrong turn trying to find. The elevator doors opened. Liam stepped out. He wasn't wearing a suit this time, just black jeans, a dark sweater pushed up to his elbows. He looked different, less formal, more human. But his eyes were the same. Cold, careful, tired in a way that didn't come from lack of sleep. He stopped when he saw her. For 3 full seconds, neither of them moved. Then Liam said, "You got the books." Not a question. Cora's throat tightened. "That was you." "Yes." "Why?" Liam stepped closer. Not threatening, just deliberate. "Because you look like someone who needed to know she wasn't invisible." Cora's breath caught. "I shouldn't have sent them," Liam continued. His voice was quieter now. "I don't usually do things like that." "Then why did you?" He looked at her for a long time, long enough that Cora felt her pulse quicken under the weight of his attention. "I don't know," he said finally. It was the first time he'd sounded uncertain about anything. Cora took a breath. "I came here to pick up my sister's earring." "Bridal suite?" "Yes." "Follow me." He led her down the corridor without another word. His movements were precise, controlled, like someone who'd spent years learning exactly how much space his body occupied and never wasting an inch of it. They reached the bridal suite. Liam unlocked the door with a keycard from his pocket. Cora stepped inside. The room was pristine. Furniture back in place, linens changed, champagne glasses cleared away, like the wedding had never happened. "Check the bathroom," Liam said from the doorway. "Maya left jewelry on the counter." Cora walked into the bathroom, found the pearl earring sitting beside the sink exactly where he said it would be. When she came back out, Liam was standing near the window looking down at the street below. "How did you know where it was?" she asked. "I own the hotel." Cora stopped. "You own it?" "My family does." She stared at him, at the worn sweater, the tired eyes, the deliberate stillness. "Who are you?" she asked slowly. Liam turned to face her. "Someone who shouldn't have sat down at your table." "That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you right now." Cora wanted to push, wanted to demand the truth, but something about the way Liam looked at her, like he was already regretting every choice that had led him to this moment, made her stop. "Thank you," she said instead. "For the books, for the ride home, for this." Liam nodded once. Cora started toward the door. "Cora." She turned back. "If you come looking for me again," Liam said quietly, "you need to understand something first." "What?" "I'm not a good man." Cora held his gaze. "I never asked you to be." Something flickered across his face, surprise maybe, or something deeper. Then she walked out. Musk. She told herself to forget about him. Told herself it didn't matter who Liam Donovan was, or why he'd sent her books, or why his family owned luxury hotels, or why his eyes carried the kind of exhaustion that came from violence instead of overwork. She told herself a lot of things. None of them stuck. Because 2 days later, she received a third package. This one contained a cassette tape. Old, scratched plastic case. Handwritten label in faded ink. Bartok, Lullaby Number 3. Cora sat on her apartment floor and cried for the first time since her father's funeral. The restaurant was in the North End. No sign outside. Just a red door between a bakery and a tailor shop. Cora stood on the sidewalk staring at the address Liam had sent in a handwritten note tucked inside the cassette case. Friday, 8 p.m. Come alone. She should have ignored it, should have thrown the note away and blocked whatever strange connection had formed between them before it became something she couldn't walk away from. Instead, she pushed open the red door. Inside, the restaurant was small. Maybe 8 tables, dim lighting, a single waiter standing near the kitchen entrance. And at the far corner table, Liam. He stood when she approached. "You came," he said. "I shouldn't have." "No," Liam agreed. "You shouldn't have." But he pulled out her chair anyway. Cora sat. Liam sat across from her. The waiter brought wine without being asked. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Cora said, "Why did you send me the tape?" "Because you needed to hear it." "How did you even find it?" Liam's expression didn't change. "I know people who know people." "That's not an answer. It's the best one you'll get." Cora leaned forward. "Who are you, Liam?" He took a slow breath, set down his wine glass, met her eyes. "My full name is Liam Donovan. My family owns the Donovan Lansing Hotel, and 6 other hotels across Boston, and a private club in Back Bay, and real estate holdings worth $3 billion. He paused. "And none of it is legal." Cora's pulse spiked. "What do you mean?" "I mean my family doesn't just own hotels," Liam said quietly. "We own territory, roots, protection networks. Everything you think the Mafia is in movies, we are that in real life." The air in the restaurant went cold. Cora stared at him. "You're serious?" "Yes." "You're the head of the Donovan Syndicate," Liam finished. "Yes." Cora stood up so fast her chair scraped against the floor. Liam didn't move. "I should leave," she said. "You should." "I shouldn't have come here." "No." "I don't—" Cora's voice cracked. "I don't know what I'm doing." Liam finally stood. Slowly. Deliberately. He didn't step toward her, just looked at her with those cold gray eyes that somehow made her feel seen instead of afraid. "You came here," he said, "because you're tired of people pretending to care when they don't. You came here because I sent you a tape of a song your father loved, and that meant something." He paused. "And you came here because I don't lie to you." Cora's hands shook. "You're a criminal." "Yes." "You've hurt people." "Yes." "Then why are you telling me this?" Liam's jaw tightened. "Because if you keep seeing me, you'll figure it out eventually, and I'd rather you know now before—" He stopped himself. "Before what?" He looked at her for a long time. "Before I make you someone my enemies can use against me," he said finally. Cora felt her breath leave her lungs. The waiter appeared with food, set down plates quietly, disappeared. Cora stared at the untouched meal. "I should go." "You should." But neither of them moved. Then Liam said very quietly, "If you walk out that door right now, I won't contact you again." Cora's throat tightened. "You promise?" "Yes." She looked at him, at the scar above his temple, at the exhaustion carved into his face, at the way he held himself like a man who'd learned to carry weight most people couldn't imagine. She thought about the books, the tape, the way he'd sat with her in silence at the wedding while grief crushed her ribs. She thought about the empty chairs. Then she sat back down. Liam exhaled slowly. "You're making a mistake," he said. "I know," Cora whispered. But she didn't leave. That. The next 3 weeks blurred together in a rhythm Cora couldn't explain and didn't know how to stop. Liam never called, never texted. He just appeared, outside her apartment building after work, at the corner cafe where she translated poetry manuscripts over espresso. Once, in the lobby of the Boston Public Library while she researched German Romantic poets for a client. He didn't ask permission, didn't explain himself, just showed up and waited until she decided whether to acknowledge him or walk away. She never walked away. They talked about books, music, languages, her father's obsession with Bartok, Liam's mother's insistence that he learn French before he turned 10. They didn't talk about the syndicate, the territory wars, the violence humming beneath every polite conversation, but Cora saw the truth anyway. She saw the way people moved when Liam walked into a room, heads down, voices quieter, bodies angled away like prey avoiding a predator. She saw the men in dark suits who followed them at a distance during walks through the common. Not bodyguards exactly, something worse. She saw the scars on Liam's hands, the way he checked exits before sitting down, the fact that he never turned his back to a door, and slowly, dangerously, Cora stopped being afraid. It happened on a Tuesday night in October. Liam picked her up outside her apartment and drove them to a private dinner in Cambridge. Another unmarked restaurant, another quiet corner table. But this time, Cora asked the question she'd been avoiding for weeks. "How many people have you killed?" Liam set down his fork, didn't flinch. "Do you really want to know?" "Yes." He looked at her for a long moment, then said, "4." Cora's chest tightened. "Yourself or ordered?" "Myself." "Why?" "Because they were going to kill people I was responsible for protecting." "Your family?" "My family, my people, my territory." He paused. "This world doesn't have courts, Cora. It has consequences." Cora swallowed hard. "Do you regret it?" Liam's expression didn't change. "No." She should have been horrified, should have stood up and walked out and never looked back. Instead, she asked, "What do you regret?" Liam leaned back in his chair. For the first time since she'd met him, he looked genuinely tired. "I regret," he said slowly, "that I inherited this empire at 25 because my father got shot in a parking garage. I regret that I spent 7 years trying to modernize the organization without starting a war. I regret that every decision I make either protects people I care about or destroys them." He met her eyes. "And I regret that I sat down at your table 3 months ago, because now you're part of this, whether you want to be or not." Cora's throat ached. "What if I don't want to be?" "Then leave." "You said you wouldn't contact me again if I left." "I won't." Cora stared at him, at the man who'd sent her books and cassette tapes and quiet moments of stillness in the middle of grief. The man who'd just admitted to killing 4 people without hesitation. "I don't know how to do this," she whispered. "Neither do I," Liam said. And somehow that made it easier. The truth came out 3 days later. Not from Liam, from the internet. A society gossip blog published an article titled, "Who is Liam Donovan Really?" The post included photos, security footage, financial records leaked from unnamed sources, and a detailed breakdown of the Donovan family's criminal empire stretching back 40 years. Cora read the entire article sitting at her kitchen table with her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold her phone. Liam Donovan wasn't just connected to organized crime. He was organized crime. The Donovan Syndicate controlled luxury hospitality across the East Coast, protected gambling networks, laundered money through real estate holdings, operated as the hidden backbone of Boston's underground economy. And Liam, quiet, careful, exhausted Liam, was the man holding it all together. Cora's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way. L." She stared at the message. Then she threw her phone across the room and watched it shatter against the wall. Cora didn't answer Liam's calls for 4 days. She deleted his texts without reading them, blocked the unknown numbers that kept appearing on her screen, threw herself into translation work, 12-hour days hunched over German poetry manuscripts, Romanian essays, French memoirs. Anything to keep her brain too occupied to think about the fact that she'd been sleeping with Boston's most powerful crime lord. Not sleeping with, not yet, but close enough that the line had started to blur. On the 5th day, Maya showed up at her apartment. Her sister stood in the doorway holding 2 coffees and wearing the concerned expression that meant she'd been sent on a mission. "You look like hell," Maya said. Cora stepped aside to let her in. "Thanks. Mom's worried. You haven't answered her calls either." "I've been working." Maya set the coffees down on the kitchen counter and turned to face her. "What happened with that guy from the wedding? Cora's chest tightened. What guy? Don't play dumb. The one who drove you home. Mom saw you leave with him. Nothing happened. Cora. I said nothing happened. Maya crossed her arms. You've been acting weird for weeks. You disappear for entire evenings without explanation. You're getting mysterious packages delivered to your door. And now you look like you haven't slept in days. She paused. So I'm going to ask you one more time. What happened with that guy? Cora walked to the window, stared out at the gray Boston sky, felt the weight of the truth pressing against her ribs like a fist. His name is Liam Donovan, she said finally. Maya frowned. Donovan? Like the hotel? Yes? So he's rich? He's a criminal. Silence. Cora turned around. Maya was staring at her with an expression somewhere between confusion and horror. What do you mean criminal? Maya asked slowly. I mean, the Donovan family doesn't just own hotels. They own territory, routes, protection networks. Cora's voice cracked. They're the Mafia, Maya, and Liam runs it. Maya sat down heavily in one of the kitchen chairs. You're joking. I wish I was. How do you even know this? Because he told me. He just told you he's a mafia boss? Yes? Maya stared at her for a long moment. Then she stood up. You need to call the police. And say what? I had dinner with someone who admitted to committing crimes? Cora shook her head. They won't do anything. He's too powerful. Then you need to stay away from him. I am staying away from him. Good. Maya grabbed her purse, started toward the door, then stopped. Cora? What? Do you love him? Cora's throat closed. I barely know him. That's not what I asked. Cora looked at her sister, at the concern written across her face, at the fear in her eyes, and felt something crack open inside her chest. I don't know, she whispered. Maya's expression softened. Then figure it out before you get hurt. She left. Cora stood alone in her apartment and wondered if it was already too late. So, Liam showed up at her door that night. No warning, no text. Just 3 sharp knocks at 11 p.m. while Cora was sitting on her couch staring at a blank translation document on her laptop. She opened the door without checking the peephole. Stupid. Dangerous. Exactly the kind of mistake people made right before their lives fell apart. Liam stood in the hallway wearing dark jeans and a black jacket. His hair was damp from rain. His eyes looked hollow. You blocked my number, he said. Yes. Can I come in? No. Liam nodded slowly, like he'd expected that answer. I need to explain. There's nothing to explain, Cora interrupted. I read the article. I know what you are. You knew what I was before the article. Knowing and seeing proof are different things. Are they? Liam's voice was quiet, controlled. But there was something underneath it, something raw and barely leashed. You asked me how many people I killed. I told you. You asked me if I regretted it. I said no. I never lied to you, Cora. You didn't tell me the truth either. I told you everything you asked for. That's not the same. Liam's jaw tightened. What do you want from me? I want you to leave. All right. He turned to go. Cora's chest ached. Wait. Liam stopped, didn't turn around. Why did you come here? She asked. Because you stopped answering. So? So I needed to know you were safe. Cora stepped closer, close enough to see the exhaustion carved into his face, close enough to smell rain and expensive cologne, close enough to make a mistake she couldn't take back. I'm safe, she said quietly. Good. But I can't do this. Liam finally turned to look at her. Can't do what? Whatever this is. Us. You. She swallowed hard. I'm not built for your world, Liam. I translate poetry. I drink too much coffee. I cry at old music. I don't know how to exist in a place where people kill each other over territory disputes. I'm not asking you to exist in my world. Then what are you asking? Liam stepped closer. Not threatening, just deliberate. His voice dropped to something quieter, rougher. I'm asking you to let me exist in yours. Cora's breath caught. I don't know how to be the person you need, she whispered. I don't need you to be anything, Liam said. I just need you to be here. Why? Because when I'm with you, I remember what it feels like to be human. Cora felt tears burn behind her eyes. That's not fair. I know. You can't just show up at my door and say things like that. I know. You need to leave. I know. But neither of them moved. Then Liam reached up slowly, giving her time to pull away, and touched her face with his scarred knuckles. Cora closed her eyes. I'm not a good man, Liam said quietly, but I've never pretended to be. And I will never lie to you. That's all I can promise. Cora opened her eyes. What if that's not enough? Then walk away. I tried that already. Try harder. Cora stared at him, at the man who'd killed 4 people and sent her poetry books, and sat with her in silence while grief tore her apart. Then she kissed him. It wasn't soft, wasn't careful. It was desperate and messy and tasted like rain and regret and all the terrible decisions she'd been trying to avoid for weeks. Liam's hand slid into her hair, pulled her closer, kissed her back like a man who'd been drowning and finally found air. When they broke apart, both of them were breathing hard. This is a mistake, Cora whispered against his mouth. I know. We're going to destroy each other. Probably. I should slam this door and never see you again. Liam's thumb traced the line of her jaw. You should. But Cora pulled him inside anyway. Giat. She woke up at 3 a.m. tangled in sheets that smelled like him. Liam was sitting on the edge of her bed, fully dressed, staring at his phone with an expression that made her stomach drop. What's wrong? She asked. He didn't look at her. I have to go. Now? Yes. Cora sat up, pulled the sheet around herself. What happened? Liam finally turned to look at her. His eyes were cold again. Empty. The version of him that existed in boardrooms and war zones instead of her apartment. Nothing you need to worry about, he said. Don't do that. Do what? Shut me out. Liam stood, grabbed his jacket from the chair. I'm not shutting you out. I'm protecting you. From what? He looked at her for a long moment, then said very quietly, From me. Before she could respond, he was gone. Cora sat alone in the dark, listening to her apartment door click shut, and wondered what the hell she'd just gotten herself into. She didn't hear from him for 6 days. No calls. No texts. No mysterious packages. Nothing. Cora told herself it was better this way. Cleaner. Safer. She almost believed it. Then Maya called her at 8 p.m. on a Saturday and said, Turn on the news. Cora grabbed her laptop, opened the local news site. The headline made her blood go cold. Violent shooting outside downtown nightclub. 2 dead, 4 injured. The article included photos, crime scene tape, police statements, and buried in the 3rd paragraph, sources report the incident may be connected to ongoing territorial disputes between organized crime families operating in the Boston area. Cora's hand shook so badly she could barely scroll. Are you seeing this? Maya asked on the other end of the line. Yes. Cora, you need to stay away from him. I haven't seen him in almost a week. Good. Keep it that way. But Cora barely heard her, because she'd scrolled down to the photos of the crime scene, and in the background, barely visible behind the police barriers, was a black sedan she recognized. Liam's car. Dramatic. He showed up at her apartment 2 hours later. This time she didn't wait for him to knock, just opened the door the second she heard footsteps in the hallway. Liam stood there looking like he'd walked through hell, blood on his sleeve, bruise forming along his jaw, eyes empty. Are you hurt? Cora asked immediately. No. That's blood. Not mine. She grabbed his arm, pulled him inside, locked the door behind them. Liam stood in the middle of her living room and didn't move. Cora walked straight to the bathroom, grabbed the first aid kit, came back out and pointed at the couch. Sit. I'm fine. Sit down, Liam. He sat. Cora knelt in front of him and started cleaning the blood off his sleeve with a damp cloth. Her hands were shaking. She hated that her hands were shaking. What happened? She asked quietly. Territory dispute. People died. Yes. Did you? No. Liam interrupted. I wasn't there when the shooting started. But you went there after. I had to. Cora pressed the cloth harder against his arm. Why? Because one of the men who died worked for me, and the people responsible needed to know there would be consequences. What kind of consequences? Liam's jaw tightened. The permanent kind. Cora dropped the cloth, sat back on her heels, stared at him. You killed someone tonight, she said slowly. No. But you're going to. Liam didn't answer. Cora stood up, walked to the window, pressed her forehead against the cold glass. I can't do this, she whispered. Behind her, Liam stood. She heard him move closer, felt his presence like heat against her back. Then don't, he said quietly. Cora turned around. Don't what? Don't do this. Don't be with me. Don't get pulled into a world where people die over nightclub territories. He paused. Walk away, Cora, while you still can. Is that what you want? What I want doesn't matter. Yes, it does. No, Liam said. His voice was rough now, raw. It doesn't, because what I want will get you killed. Cora's chest tightened. You don't know that. Yes, I do. I've seen it happen before. To who? Liam's expression went completely blank. Someone I cared about, 7 years ago. They used her to get to me, and by the time I found her, it was too late. The air in the apartment went cold. Cora stared at him. What happened to her? She died, Liam said flatly. Because I wasn't careful enough. Because I thought I could protect her. Because I was stupid enough to believe love mattered more than violence. Liam, so I'm telling you now, he continued, before this goes any further, before you become someone my enemies can use against me, walk away. Cora's throat ached. And if I don't want to, then you're a fool. Maybe I am. Liam stepped closer, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to look at him. His eyes were dark, empty, haunted. I will destroy you, he said quietly. Maybe not today, maybe not next month, but eventually my world will swallow you whole and I won't be able to stop it. Cora reached up, touched his face, felt him flinch under her palm. What if I don't care, she whispered. You should. But I don't. Liam caught her wrist, held it. Cora, I know what you are, she said. I know what you've done. I know people are going to die because of you, and I know that being with you is the most dangerous decision I'll ever make. She paused. But when I'm with you, I don't feel invisible anymore. Liam's grip tightened. That's not enough. It's enough for me. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Liam pulled her against his chest and held her like a man trying to memorize the shape of something he was about to lose. 3 weeks passed in a strange blur of normalcy and violence. Liam still disappeared for days at a time. Still came back with bruises and blood that wasn't his. Still refused to explain where he'd been or what he'd done. But he also showed up at her apartment with takeout at midnight, sat on her couch reading while she worked on translations, fell asleep beside her with his hand wrapped around her wrist like he was afraid she'd vanish. Cora learned to read the signs. When Liam's jaw was tight, someone had threatened him. When his knuckles were bruised, he'd hit someone. When his eyes went empty, someone had died. She didn't ask for details, didn't push, just stayed. And slowly, dangerously, they built something fragile in the spaces between the violence. Then the article came out. Not a gossip blog this time. A real newspaper, front page of the Metro section. Donovan crime family under federal investigation. Insider sources suggest imminent arrests. Cora read the entire thing standing in her kitchen with her coffee going cold. The article detailed everything. Money laundering, racketeering, witness intimidation. A federal task force had been investigating the Donovan syndicate for 18 months. Arrests were expected within weeks, and buried in the 6th paragraph was a line that made her blood freeze. Federal prosecutors are reportedly seeking cooperation from individuals close to Liam Donovan, including romantic partners and business associates. Her phone rang. Unknown number, she answered. Hello? Miss Whitmore? A woman's voice, professional, cold. Yes? My name is Agent Sarah Chen. I'm with the FBI. I'd like to speak with you about your relationship with Liam Donovan. Cora's stomach dropped. I don't know what you're talking about. Miss Whitmore, we have surveillance footage of you entering and leaving Mr. Donovan's residence on multiple occasions over the past 2 months. We have phone records. We have witnesses. A pause. You can speak with me voluntarily, or I can subpoena you. Your choice. Cora's hand shook. I need to think about it. You have 24 hours. After that, I'll assume you're choosing not to cooperate. The line clicked off. Cora stood frozen in her kitchen, staring at her phone. Then she called Liam. He answered on the first ring. Are you safe? The FBI just called me. Silence. Liam? Where are you? His voice was sharp now, controlled. My apartment. Stay there, lock the door. Don't answer it for anyone except me. What's happening? I'll explain when I get there. Liam! But he'd already hung up. He arrived 30 minutes later with 2 men Cora had never seen before. Both wore dark suits. Both moved like soldiers. Liam walked straight to her, grabbed her shoulders. Did the agent say anything else? Just that I have 24 hours to cooperate voluntarily. Did she threaten you? No, but she had surveillance footage, phone records. Cora's voice cracked. She knows everything, Liam. Liam's jaw tightened. He turned to the 2 men. Check the windows. Make sure nobody's watching the building. They disappeared without a word. Cora grabbed Liam's arm. What's happening? The feds have been building a case against my family for over a year. They're trying to flip people close to me. He paused. They want you to testify. About what? About me. About what you've seen, what you know. Cora's chest went tight. I don't know anything. You know enough. Then what do I do? Liam looked at her for a long moment, then said, very quietly, You tell them the truth. Cora stared at him. What? You tell them you were seeing me. You tell them I never discussed business with you. You tell them you don't know anything about the syndicate operations. He paused. And then you cooperate. You want me to talk to the FBI? I want you safe, Liam said. And the only way you stay safe is if they believe you're not involved. But I am involved. No, you're not. You're a civilian who made the mistake of dating someone you shouldn't have. His voice was hard now, final. You don't know anything. You can't help them. And after you tell them that, they'll leave you alone. Cora's throat ached. What about you? I'll handle it. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. One of the men came back into the living room. Building's clear. No surveillance we can detect. Liam nodded. Good. Stay outside her door until I leave. The man disappeared again. Cora grabbed Liam's jacket. Don't do this. Do what? Push me away. I'm not pushing you away. I'm protecting you. By lying to the FBI? By keeping you out of prison, Liam said flatly. You think they care about the truth? They want names. They want testimony. They want someone they can use to build their case. He stepped closer. And I will burn this entire city down before I let them use you. Cora felt tears burn behind her eyes. I don't want to lose you. You're not going to lose me. You can't promise that. No, Liam agreed quietly. I can't. Then he kissed her. Hard, desperate, like a man saying goodbye. When he pulled away, his eyes were empty again. Talk to the FBI, he said. Tell them the truth. And then stay away from me until this is over. Liam, I mean it, Cora. If they see us together again, they'll use it against both of us. How long? I don't know. Weeks? Months? Liam's jaw tightened. However long it takes. He walked to the door, stopped, looked back at her one more time. I'm sorry, he said. Then he was gone. Cora stood alone in her apartment and felt everything she'd been building with him shatter into pieces she didn't know how to put back together. She met with Agent Chen the next morning. A coffee shop in Cambridge, public, neutral, safe. The agent was younger than Cora expected, maybe 35, sharp suit, sharper eyes. Thank you for meeting with me, Agent Chen said. Cora sat down, didn't order anything. I don't have much to tell you. Let me be the judge of that. For the next hour, Agent Chen asked questions, detailed questions. Questions about Liam's schedule, his associates, his properties, his businesses. Cora answered honestly. She'd been seeing Liam for 2 months. He'd never discussed business with her. She knew he owned hotels. She knew people were afraid of him. She knew the rumors about his family's criminal connections. But she didn't know details, didn't know names, didn't know operations. Agent Chen leaned back in her chair. You expect me to believe you've been romantically involved with one of the most powerful organized crime figures in Boston, and he never once mentioned his work? We didn't talk about work. What did you talk about? Books, music, languages. Cora met the agent's eyes. Normal things. There's nothing normal about Liam Donovan. Maybe not to you. Agent Chen's expression hardened. Miss Whitmore, I don't think you understand the kind of man you're involved with. Liam Donovan isn't just a criminal. He's the head of a syndicate responsible for extortion, money laundering, witness intimidation, and at least 3 murders we can definitively link to his organization. Cora's chest tightened. I don't know anything about that. Then you're willfully blind. Or maybe I'm just someone who made a mistake. Agent Chen studied her for a long moment. Then she slid a folder across the table. Open it. Cora hesitated, then opened the folder. Inside were photographs, crime scenes, bodies, blood. And Liam, standing in the background of one photo, talking on his phone while police tape cordoned off a warehouse behind him. Cora's stomach turned. That warehouse, Agent Chen said quietly, was where we found the bodies of 2 men who'd been tortured for information before they were executed. This photo was taken 4 hours after the murders. She paused. Liam Donovan was there, and we have witnesses who say he ordered the killings. Cora pushed the folder away. I don't know anything about that. But you believe he's capable of it. Cora's throat closed. I believe everyone is capable of terrible things under the right circumstances. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Agent Chen leaned forward. Miss Whitmore, I'm trying to help you. If you cooperate, if you give us information we can use, I can offer you protection, immunity, a way out. I don't have information. Then you're useless to us. The words hit like a slap. Cora stood up. Are we done? Agent Chen handed her a business card. Call me if you change your mind, or if you suddenly remember something useful. Cora took the card, walked out of the coffee shop, made it 3 blocks before her hands started shaking so badly she had to sit down on a bench. She pulled out her phone, stared at Liam's number, then she deleted it. Chukuk. 2 weeks passed. No calls, no texts, no mysterious packages. Cora threw herself into work, accepted every translation project her agent sent, stayed up until 3 a.m., hunched over German poetry and French essays and anything that kept her brain too busy to think about Liam. Maya called every other day to check on her. Her mother invited her to Sunday dinner. Agent Chen left 3 more voicemails. Cora ignored all of them. Then one night at 11 p.m., someone knocked on her door. Not Liam's knock. Sharper. More urgent. Cora looked through the peephole. A woman she didn't recognize stood in the hallway, mid-50s, expensive coat, dark hair pulled back in a severe bun. Cora opened the door with the chain still latched. Can I help you? The woman smiled, cold, elegant, predatory. My name is Cordelia Donovan, she said. I'm Liam's mother, and we need to talk. Cora stared at the woman through the gap in the doorway and felt her pulse spike. Cordelia Donovan looked exactly like someone who'd spent 40 years ruling an empire from the shadows. Every line of her posture screamed control. Every perfectly placed strand of hair was a weapon. Even her smile, cold and surgical, felt like a threat wrapped in politeness. I don't think we have anything to talk about, Cora said. I disagree. Cordelia's voice was smooth, cultured, the kind of voice that had probably ordered executions over champagne. May I come in? No. Then we'll talk in the hallway where your neighbors can hear every word. Cordelia glanced at the apartment door across the hall. Your choice. Cora's jaw tightened. She unlatched the chain, stepped back. Cordelia walked in like she owned the place. She moved through Cora's small apartment with the casual appraisal of someone used to evaluating threats and finding them insignificant. Her gaze swept over the secondhand furniture, the stacks of translation manuscripts, the coffee-stained mugs accumulating on the counter. "Charming," Cordelia said. She didn't mean it. Cora crossed her arms. "What do you want?" Cordelia turned to face her. "I want you to understand something very clearly. My son has made many mistakes in his life, but you are the worst one." The words hit like a slap. Cora forced herself to hold Cordelia's gaze. "If that's all you came to say, that's not all." Cordelia set her purse down on the kitchen counter with deliberate precision. "Liam is about to destroy everything his father built, everything I've protected for 30 years, and he's doing it because of you." "I didn't ask him to." "You didn't have to ask," Cordelia interrupted. Her voice was still calm, still controlled, but there was steel underneath now. "You just had to exist. You just had to be the broken little girl sitting alone at a wedding, and my son, my brilliant, careful son, decided you were worth burning an empire for." Cora's chest tightened. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't you?" Cordelia stepped closer. The Donovan Syndicate is held together by alliances, strategic marriages, carefully negotiated treaties between families who would happily kill each other if it served their interests. She paused. Liam was supposed to marry Vivian Hale, daughter of the Hale family, a union that would have secured our position for the next generation and prevented a war that could destroy us all. He never told me. Of course he didn't tell you, because telling you would have meant admitting that every moment he spent with you was a betrayal of the only world he's ever known. Cordelia's eyes were cold now, empty. The board met yesterday. They gave Liam an ultimatum. Marry Vivian within 6 weeks, or they'll remove him from power by whatever means necessary. Cora felt the room tilt. Remove him? Kill him, Cordelia said flatly. Don't pretend you don't understand how this works. Cora's hands shook. Then why are you here? Why aren't you talking to Liam? Because Liam won't listen to me. He stopped listening the moment he met you. Cordelia's voice hardened. But you still have a choice. You can walk away, disappear, give my son a chance to save himself before it's too late. He told me to stay away from him. I am staying away. Staying away isn't enough. Cordelia reached into her purse, pulled out a plain white envelope, set it on the counter between them. That's a cashier's check for $200,000. Enough to start over somewhere else. Somewhere far from Boston. Cora stared at the envelope. You're trying to pay me to leave? I'm trying to save my son's life. By bribing me. By removing the only thing standing between him and survival. Cordelia's expression didn't change. You think you love him. You think what you have is special, but love doesn't matter in our world. Only power matters. Only survival. Cora's throat ached. If you really cared about Liam, you'd let him make his own choices. His choices are going to get him killed. Then that's his decision. Cordelia's jaw tightened. For the first time, emotion cracked through her perfect composure. You have no idea what you're asking him to sacrifice. The Donovan Empire isn't just money. It's protection. It's structure. It's the only thing keeping hundreds of people safe from violence they can't imagine. She paused. If Liam refuses the marriage, the board will dismantle everything. Rival families will move on our territory. People will die. And it will all be because my son chose a translator over his legacy. Cora felt tears burn behind her eyes. I never asked him to choose. You didn't have to. That's what makes you dangerous. Cordelia picked up her purse, walked toward the door, stopped. You have 48 hours to take that money and disappear. After that, I'll assume you've chosen to stay. And if you stay, her voice went cold, I will remove you myself. Are you threatening me? Cordelia looked back at her with the kind of expression that had probably preceded dozens of deaths over the years. I'm promising you, she said quietly. Then she walked out. Cora stood frozen in her apartment, staring at the white envelope on the counter. Her phone buzzed, a text from Maya. Please tell me you're not still seeing him. Cora deleted the message without responding. Then she grabbed the envelope, ripped it open, stared at the check. $200,000. Enough to leave Boston. Start over. Translate poetry in some quiet city where mafia families and FBI investigations and dangerous men with gray eyes didn't exist. She could take the money. She could disappear. She could let Liam marry Vivian Hale and save his empire and survive. Or she could stay and watch him destroy himself for her. Cora walked to the window, pressed her forehead against the cold glass, felt the weight of impossible choices crushing down on her shoulders. Then she tore the check into pieces and let them fall to the floor like snow. 3 days later, headlines exploded across every news outlet in Boston. Donovan Ayre refuses strategic marriage. Syndicate board in chaos. Liam Donovan defies family expectations. Sources say romance with civilian translator to blame. Organized crime families anticipate war as Donovan alliance collapses. Cora read every article sitting at her kitchen table with her hands shaking. The stories all said the same thing. Liam had formally refused the arranged marriage to Vivian Hale during a closed-door meeting with the syndicate board. Several high-ranking members had walked out in protest. Investors were threatening to pull funding. Rival families were already testing Donovan territory defenses, and buried in every article, sometimes in direct quotes, sometimes in carefully worded implications, was Cora's name, the civilian translator who'd somehow convinced Boston's most powerful mafia boss to commit professional suicide. Her phone rang. Maya, Cora answered. I know. Have you seen the news? Yes. Cora, people are saying you're the reason. I know, Cora interrupted. Are you safe? I don't know. Silence on the other end of the line. Then Maya said quietly, Do you need somewhere to stay? No. Cora, I'm fine, Maya. I promise. You don't sound fine. I have to go. Cora hung up. Then she opened her laptop and searched for Vivian Hale. The results came back immediately. Photos, society pages, charity galas. A beautiful woman in her early 30s with dark hair and the kind of smile that looked practiced. Daughter of Marcus Hale, another syndicate family with roots stretching back 3 generations. The perfect alliance. The smart choice. The woman Liam should have married instead of destroying everything for someone who translated poetry and cried over old music. Cora slammed her laptop shut. Then she grabbed her coat and walked out into the November cold. She didn't plan to go to the Donovan Lansing Hotel, but her feet carried her there anyway. The lobby was exactly as she remembered. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, white roses arranged like monuments. Except this time, the space felt different, colder, like something fragile had shattered and no one knew how to clean up the pieces. Cora walked toward the front desk. A young woman in a crisp uniform looked up. Can I help you? I need to see Liam Donovan. The woman's expression flickered. Recognition. Wariness. Do you have an appointment? No. I'm sorry, but Mr. Donovan isn't seeing visitors. Tell him Cora Whitmore is here. The woman hesitated. Then she picked up the phone, spoke quietly into the receiver, listened, hung up. Someone will be down shortly, she said. Cora waited. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then the elevator doors opened and a man stepped out. Not Liam. Someone older. Gray hair. Expensive suit. The kind of face that had seen too much violence to ever look completely relaxed. He walked straight to Cora. Miss Whitmore? Yes. My name is Henry Carrick. I'm Mr. Donovan's head of security. His voice was polite, professional, but his eyes were calculating. Mr. Donovan asked me to escort you upstairs. Cora followed him into the elevator. They rode in silence to the top floor. The doors opened onto a private hallway. Dark wood paneling, thick carpet, security cameras in every corner. Henry led her to a set of double doors at the end of the hall. Knocked twice. A voice from inside. Come in. Henry opened the door, stepped aside. Cora walked in. The office was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, dark furniture, surveillance screens hidden behind sleek panels, financial reports scattered across a conference table, and sitting behind the desk with his shirt sleeves rolled up and exhaustion carved into his face. Liam. He stood when he saw her. You shouldn't be here. I know. If the board finds out you came, I don't care. Liam's jaw tightened. He glanced at Henry. Leave us. Henry disappeared. The door clicked shut. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Liam said, Your mother visited you. Yes. What did she offer you? Money. How much? 200,000. Liam's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Did you take it? No? Why not? Cora stepped closer. Because I'm not for sale. You should be. Liam's voice was rough, tired. You should take the money and disappear before this gets worse. It can't get worse. Yes, it can. Liam walked around the desk, stopped a few feet away from her, close enough that she could see the shadows under his eyes, the new scar on his knuckles, the way he held himself like a man barely holding together. The board is going to force my hand, Cora. Either I marry Vivian or they'll remove me. And if they remove me, they'll make sure I don't survive long enough to retaliate. Cora's chest tightened. Then marry her. What? Marry Vivian. Save your empire. Survive. Liam stared at her. You don't mean that. I do. No, you don't. Liam, I refuse to marry someone I don't love so I can preserve an empire built on blood and fear. Liam interrupted. His voice was hard now, final. I've spent 7 years trying to turn this organization into something I could stomach, something my father would have been proud of. But if the price of survival is losing the only person who ever made me feel human, he stopped, swallowed hard. Then I'd rather burn it all down. Cora felt tears burn behind her eyes. You can't mean that. I've never meant anything more. Your mother said people will die if you refuse. People will die anyway. That's what our world does. It consumes everything. Then let me go, Cora whispered. Let me disappear so you can save yourself. Liam stepped closer, close enough to touch her. I tried that. I told you to stay away. I deleted your number. I convinced myself I could go back to the way things were before I met you. He paused. And then I woke up every morning feeling like I'd lost the only thing that mattered. Cora's throat ached. We're going to destroy each other. Probably. I don't know how to exist in your world. Then don't. Just exist in mine. Liam. He kissed her. Not gentle, not careful, desperate and raw, and tasting like goodbye and promises neither of them could keep. When they broke apart, Cora was crying. What are we going to do? She whispered. Liam touched her face. I don't know, but I'm done running from the only thing I've ever wanted. Then his phone rang. He glanced at the screen. His expression went cold. What is it? Cora asked. Liam answered the call, listened. His jaw tightened. When? He asked. Pause. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up. Cora grabbed his arm. What happened? The board just called an emergency meeting. Liam's voice was flat, empty. They're voting tonight on whether to remove me. Can they do that? They can do whatever they want if they have the votes. How many do they need? 2/3 majority. Do they have it? Liam looked at her. I don't know. Bokya. He left 10 minutes later with Henry and 3 other security personnel. Cora stood alone in the massive office and felt the weight of everything pressing down on her like concrete. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. Hello? Miss Whitmore? Agent Chen's voice. We need to talk. Now. I already told you everything I know. That was before Liam Donovan publicly destroyed his own organization for you. Now you're leverage. A pause. And if you don't cooperate, you're going to be charged as an accessory. Cora's blood went cold. An accessory to what? Obstruction of justice, witness tampering, money laundering. Agent Chen's voice hardened. We have evidence that Liam transferred $200,000 into an offshore account registered under your name 3 days ago. That's not true. The bank records say otherwise. Cora felt the room spin. I never received that money. Then someone went to a lot of trouble to make it look like you did. Agent Chen paused. Meet me at the federal building in 1 hour. If you don't show up, I'll issue a warrant for your arrest. The line went dead. Cora stood frozen, holding her phone. $200,000. Offshore account. Her name. Cordelia. The realization hit like a freight train. Cordelia Donovan had set her up. The check had been a test, and when Cora refused it, Cordelia had planted evidence to make it look like she'd accepted money from Liam. Evidence that would force the FBI to charge her, destroy her credibility, and remove her from Liam's life permanently. Cora's hands shook so badly she almost dropped her phone. Then she did something she'd promised herself she'd never do. She called Agent Chen back. "I'll cooperate," Cora said, "but I need something in return." "What?" "Immunity. Full immunity. And I want Cordelia Donovan investigated for evidence tampering." Silence on the other end of the line. Then Agent Chen said, "What do you know about Cordelia Donovan?" Cora took a breath. "Everything." The federal building was a gray concrete fortress in downtown Boston. Cora sat across from Agent Chen in a windowless interrogation room and told her everything she knew about Liam's mother. The fake check, the threats, the offshore account that appeared under Cora's name after she'd refused the money, the promise that Cordelia would remove her if she didn't disappear. Agent Chen took notes, asked questions, recorded every word. "Can you prove any of this?" she asked finally. "The check I ripped up is still in pieces on my apartment floor." "That's evidence of an offer, not evidence of a crime." "Then what about the offshore account?" "We're investigating that separately, but without proof that Cordelia Donovan created it, all we have is a bank account that suggests you accepted money from her son." Cora's chest tightened. "So you're saying she wins?" "I'm saying we need more than your word against hers." "Then what do you want from me?" Agent Chen leaned forward. "Testify. Tell a grand jury everything you just told me. Give us sworn testimony that we can use to build a case not just against Liam, but against the entire Donovan family." Cora felt her stomach drop. "You want me to testify against Liam?" "I want you to testify about what you know. If that testimony incriminates Liam, then yes." "I don't know anything about his operations. You know he's the head of a criminal syndicate. You know his mother threatened you. You know he transferred money in your name." Agent Chen paused. "That's enough." Cora stood up. "I need to think about it." "You don't have time to think. The grand jury convenes in 72 hours. Either you testify or we charge you as an accomplice. You said you'd give me immunity. Immunity in exchange for cooperation, not silence." Cora stared at her. "So my choices are betray Liam or go to prison?" "Your choice is tell the truth or face the consequences of protecting a criminal." Cora's hands shook. "I need to talk to him." "Absolutely not. If you contact Liam Donovan before you testify, I'll charge you with witness tampering." "Then I'm not testifying." Agent Chen stood, walked to the door, opened it. Two agents in suits stepped into the room. "Miss Whitmore," Agent Chen said coldly, "you're under arrest for obstruction of justice and conspiracy to commit money laundering. You have the right to remain silent." Cora barely heard the rest. She felt the handcuffs close around her wrists, felt herself being led out of the interrogation room, felt the world she'd been trying to build with Liam collapse into ash. And she realized, too late, that Cordelia Donovan had won. They held her in a federal detention facility overnight. Cora sat alone in a cell with concrete walls and a metal bed and tried to figure out how everything had gone so catastrophically wrong so fast. She thought about Liam facing the board without knowing she'd been arrested. She thought about Cordelia's cold smile. She thought about the offshore account with her name on it. And she thought about the choice she'd made, the choice to rip up that check instead of taking it, and wondered if refusing the money had been the bravest or stupidest decision of her life. At 6 a.m., a guard came to her cell. "You made bail," he said. Cora blinked. "What?" "Someone posted your bail. You're free to go." She followed the guard through processing in a daze, signed paperwork, collected her belongings, walked out into the cold November morning. A black sedan was waiting at the curb. The back door opened. Liam stepped out. Cora stopped breathing. He looked worse than she'd ever seen him. Bruises on his face, blood on his collar, eyes hollow with exhaustion. "Get in," he said quietly. Cora got in. Liam slid in beside her. The car pulled into traffic. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Then Liam said, "My mother set you up." "I know." The offshore account was her idea. She created it to force the FBI to arrest you. I know. I'm sorry. Cora looked at him, at the man who just bailed her out of federal custody despite having his own empire collapsing around him. What happened at the board meeting? She asked quietly. Liam's jaw tightened. They voted. And? I lost? Cora's chest went tight. They're removing you? They gave me one final option. Liam's voice was flat, empty. Marry Vivian Hale within 2 weeks, or they'll vote again to remove me permanently. Permanently means dead, Liam finished. Yes. Cora felt tears burn behind her eyes. Then you have to marry her. No. Liam, I said no. He turned to look at her finally. His eyes were dark, haunted. But underneath the exhaustion was something harder, something that had made a decision and refused to back down. I'm done letting other people decide my life. I'm done sacrificing everything I want to preserve an empire I never asked for. He paused. And I'm done pretending I can exist without you. Cora grabbed his hand. They'll kill you. Maybe. There has to be another way. There isn't. Then what are we going to do? Liam looked at her for a long moment. Then he said, very quietly, we're going to burn it all down. The words hung in the air between them like smoke from a gun that hadn't finished firing. Burn it all down. Cora stared at Liam in the back seat of the moving car and tried to process what he'd just said. His face was bruised, his collar stained with blood that might have been his or someone else's. But his eyes, those cold gray eyes that had first caught her attention at a wedding 3 months ago, were absolutely certain. What does that mean? She asked slowly. It means I'm dismantling the empire, Liam said, piece by piece, before the board can vote me out, before my mother can arrange another marriage, before the FBI builds their case. He paused. I'm taking apart everything my father spent 40 years building. Cora's pulse spiked. You can't do that. I can, and I will. Liam, if you dismantle the syndicate, you'll have enemies from every direction. I already have enemies from every direction. His voice was flat, final. The difference is, now I'm choosing when and how this ends. The car turned down a narrow street in South Boston. Industrial buildings. Empty lots. The kind of neighborhood where bad things happened and nobody asked questions afterward. Cora grabbed Liam's arm. Where are we going? Somewhere safe. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting right now. The car pulled into an underground parking garage beneath what looked like an abandoned warehouse. Concrete pillars. Flickering lights. The smell of oil and rust. Henry was waiting beside a black SUV. The sedan stopped. Liam got out, offered his hand to Cora. She took it. Her legs felt unsteady. Her head was still spinning from federal custody and bail, and the impossible choice Liam had just announced. But his hand was warm and solid, and when she looked up at him, she saw something she'd never seen before. Not fear, not exhaustion, freedom. Like a man who'd spent his entire life carrying chains and finally decided to break them. How long do we have? Liam asked Henry. 4 hours. Maybe less. Henry's voice was tense. The board is convening an emergency session at noon. If you're not there to answer their questions, they'll interpret it as abandonment. Good. Henry's expression flickered. Sir, with all due respect, I know what I'm doing, Henry. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you're about to sign your own death warrant. Liam's jaw tightened. Then stop standing there and start preparing for what comes next. Henry stared at him for a long moment. Then he nodded once and walked toward the SUV. Cora turned to Liam. What comes next? War, Liam said quietly. The kind that doesn't end until everyone involved is either dead or broken. Her throat went tight. And you're okay with that? No. He looked at her, really looked at her. But I'm more okay with that than spending the rest of my life pretending to be someone I'm not. Before she could respond, her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered, Hello? Miss Whitmore. Agent Chen's voice, sharp, urgent. Where are you? That's none of your business. You violated your bail conditions by leaving federal custody with Liam Donovan. If you don't return to the detention facility immediately, I'll issue a warrant. Cora hung up, turned off her phone, looked at Liam. No going back now, she said. No, Liam agreed. There isn't. Update. The safe house was in Roxbury, a 3-story brownstone that looked abandoned from the outside but was fortified like a bunker on the inside. Steel-reinforced doors, surveillance cameras, armed guards positioned on every floor. Liam led Cora to a second-floor office. The room was sparse. A desk, 2 chairs, a laptop connected to multiple external hard drives. Maps of Boston spread across one wall with locations marked in red ink. Sit, Liam said. Cora sat. Liam opened the laptop, pulled up financial records, spreadsheets, accounts with numbers so large they didn't look real. This, he said, is everything, every account, every holding, every piece of territory the Donovan Syndicate controls. He turned the screen toward her. I'm going to liquidate it all. Transfer the assets to offshore accounts the board can't access, sell the properties, dissolve the protection networks. And by the time they realize what's happening, there won't be an empire left to fight over. Cora stared at the screen. How long will that take? If I move fast, 72 hours. And if the board finds out before you're finished? Then I'll be dead before the weekends. Cora's hand shook. There has to be another way. There isn't. Liam closed the laptop, looked at her with an expression that was somehow both exhausted and determined. I've spent 7 years trying to modernize this organization, trying to make it something I could live with, trying to honor my father's legacy while building something cleaner. He paused. But the truth is, there's no such thing as a clean empire built on violence, and I'm done pretending otherwise. What about the people who depend on you, the families under your protection? I'm setting up trust funds, severance packages, exit strategies for anyone who wants out. His voice was quiet, steady. The ones who choose to stay in this life can find another syndicate to work for. The ones who want out will have the resources to disappear. Cora stood, walked to the window, stared out at the gray Boston morning. Your mother is going to try to stop you, she said. I know. She'll kill you if she has to. Probably. And you're okay with that? Liam walked up behind her, close enough that she could feel the heat of him against her back. I'm okay with dying if it means I spent my last days choosing my own life instead of inheriting someone else's nightmare. Cora turned around, looked up at him. I don't want you to die, she whispered. Then help me survive. How? Liam touched her face. Stay with me. Don't run. Don't second-guess this. He paused. And when it's over, if we're both still alive, leave Boston with me. Cora's chest ached. Where would we go? Anywhere. Everywhere. Somewhere nobody knows my last name. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I have enough money hidden away to disappear for the rest of our lives. We could translate poetry in Prague, teach languages in Buenos Aires, live in a cabin in Norway where nobody cares about mafia empires or FBI investigations. That's a fantasy. Maybe. But it's the only one I have left. Cora grabbed his shirt, pulled him closer, kissed him hard enough to taste blood and desperation and all the impossible promises they were making to each other. When they broke apart, both of them were breathing like they'd run a marathon. 72 hours, Cora said. 72 hours, Liam agreed. Then his phone rang. He glanced at the screen. His expression went cold. What is it? Cora asked. The board knows. 12 minutes later, Henry burst into the office. They're moving faster than we expected, he said. His voice was tight, controlled, but there was fear underneath. Marcus Hale just arrived at the Donovan Lansing Hotel with 8 armed men. Cordelia is calling an emergency family meeting, and the board is demanding you appear in person to answer charges of betrayal. Liam's jaw tightened. How many board members voted for the meeting? All of them. Including the ones who supported me? Especially them. You liquidated 3 holding companies this morning without authorization. They're interpreting it as theft. It's not theft if I'm dissolving my own empire. They don't see it that way. Henry paused. Sir, if you don't show up to that meeting, they'll send enforcers, and they won't ask questions before they start shooting. Liam looked at Cora, then back at Henry. How long do I have? 2 hours, maybe less. Then I need to move faster. Henry's expression flickered. Sir, I'm not going to that meeting, Henry. I'm not going to stand in front of a room full of men who've spent their entire lives building empires on blood and explain why I'm choosing a different life. Liam's voice was hard now. Final. I'm finishing what I started, and if they want to stop me, they'll have to kill me first. Henry stared at him for a long moment. Then he said quietly, They will, sir. You know that, right? They will kill you. I know. And you're doing this anyway. Yes? Henry nodded slowly. Then I'll make sure you have enough time. He walked out. Cora grabbed Liam's arm. What did he mean by that? He's going to delay them, stall the board, buy me time to finish the liquidation. How? I don't know. And I don't want to know. Liam opened the laptop again, started typing commands so fast his fingers blurred across the keyboard. I need 3 more hours to finish this. 3 hours to transfer the remaining assets. 3 hours to dissolve the protection networks. 3 hours to make sure there's nothing left for them to fight over. And if they get here before you're finished, Liam didn't answer, because they both knew what would happen. Bopak. The next 2 hours passed in a blur of wire transfers and encrypted communications and phone calls to offshore banks in countries Cora had never heard of. Liam worked like a man possessed, eyes locked on the screen, fingers moving constantly, voice sharp and controlled as he gave orders to accountants and lawyers and fixers scattered across 3 continents. Cora sat beside him and watched an empire dissolve in real time. Accounts emptied, property sold, holdings liquidated, billions of dollars moving through digital channels so fast it looked like magic. But it wasn't magic. It was just a man systematically destroying everything his father had built because he'd finally found something worth more than power. At 11:15, Liam's phone rang. He glanced at the screen. His expression went dark. It's my mother, he said. Don't answer it. I have to. He answered, put it on speaker. Cordelia's voice filled the room, cold, controlled, furious. What have you done? What I should have done 7 years ago, Liam said calmly. You're stealing from the family. I'm dismantling the family. There's a difference. You have no right. I have every right. I'm the head of this organization, and I'm choosing to end it. Silence on the other end of the line. Then Cordelia said very quietly, You're going to die for this. Probably. And you think that girl is worth it? Yes. Then you're a fool. Cordelia's voice hardened. The board has authorized extreme measures. They're sending enforcers to the safe house. You have 30 minutes before they arrive, and when they do... She paused. They have orders to kill anyone inside. Liam's jaw tightened. Including you? I won't be there. I'll be at the hotel mourning my son who destroyed himself over a civilian translator. Her voice cracked slightly, just slightly. Goodbye, Liam. The line went dead. Cora stared at the phone. She just gave you a warning. I know. Why would she do that? Because despite everything, she's still my mother. Liam stood, started shutting down the laptop. And somewhere underneath the Ice Queen Act, she doesn't actually want me dead. But she's not going to stop it. No, she won't. Cora grabbed his arm. Then we need to leave, now. I'm not finished. Liam, if you stay here, you'll die. If I leave now, this was all for nothing. He pulled away from her, started typing again, faster now, desperate. I need 15 more minutes. Just 15 minutes to finish the final transfers. Gunfire erupted outside. Not distant, close, immediate. The sharp crack of automatic weapons tearing through concrete and steel. Liam grabbed Cora, pulled her to the floor behind the desk. More gunfire, shouting, the sound of glass shattering. Henry's voice over the intercom. North entrance compromised. Repeat, north entrance compromised. Sir, you need to move now. The intercom cut off. Liam grabbed the laptop, shoved it into a backpack, pulled a gun from a desk drawer. Cora stared at the weapon. You're going to shoot your way out? If I have to. There are 8 armed men out there. I know. Liam. He grabbed her face with both hands, looked at her with eyes that were suddenly clear, focused, absolutely certain. Listen to me, he said. There's a service exit in the basement. Henry knows about it. If anything happens to me, you find him and you get out. You don't look back. You don't try to save me. You just run. I'm not leaving you, Yvette. Yes, you are. His voice was hard. You're going to survive this. You're going to leave Boston. You're going to translate poetry in some quiet city where mafia families don't exist. And you're going to live the life I never could. Tears burned Cora's eyes. No. Cora, I said no. She grabbed his wrists. We do this together or not at all. More gunfire, closer now, the sound of boots on stairs. Liam stared at her. Then he nodded once. Together, he said. He pulled her to her feet. They moved toward the door. It exploded inward before they reached it. 3 men in tactical gear burst into the room, guns raised, faces masked. Liam shoved Cora behind him, raised his own weapon. Don't, one of the men said. His voice was cold, professional. You're outnumbered, outgunned, and we have orders to bring you in alive if possible. And if it's not possible? Liam asked. Then we bring you in dead. Liam's finger tightened on the trigger. Cora grabbed his arm. Don't! They're going to kill us anyway. Then let them do it without making you a murderer. Her voice cracked. Please. Liam looked at her. Something shifted in his expression, something that looked like surrender mixed with relief. He lowered the gun. The lead enforcer stepped forward. Smart choice. Then Henry crashed through the window behind them. Not through the door. Through the actual window. Glass exploding inward in a shower of crystalline fragments. His body hit the floor and rolled, came up firing. 2 of the enforcers went down immediately. The third turned toward Henry. Liam raised his gun and shot him in the chest. The man dropped. Silence. Henry stood slowly, blood running down his face from a gash above his eye. Are you hurt? No, Liam said. You? I'll live. Henry grabbed the backpack. We need to move, now. They sent 12 men total. I took out 4 on the first floor. You just killed 3. That leaves 5. Where's the service exit? Basement, but they're covering it. Henry pulled a set of keys from his pocket, tossed them to Liam. Take the motorcycle in the parking garage. It's fast, untracked, and small enough to navigate side streets if they follow you. What about you? I'll hold them off as long as I can. Henry, sir? Henry's voice was firm. You saved my life 15 years ago when nobody else would have. Let me return the favor. Liam stared at him. Then he grabbed Henry's shoulder, squeezed once. Thank you, he said quietly. Henry nodded. Go. Liam grabbed Cora's hand. They ran. Down the stairs, past bodies sprawled in pools of blood, through smoke and broken glass and the acrid smell of gunpowder. Behind them, more gunfire. Henry buying them time he'd never get back. They reached the parking garage, found the motorcycle. A sleek black Ducati parked in the shadows. Liam threw his leg over the seat, started the engine, looked back at Cora. Get on. She climbed on behind him, wrapped her arms around his waist, felt his heart hammering against her palms. The motorcycle roared to life. They shot out of the parking garage into cold November daylight. Behind them, the safe house erupted in flames. They didn't stop riding for 20 minutes. Liam navigated through side streets and alleys and residential neighborhoods where SUVs full of enforcers couldn't follow. The wind tore at Cora's face. Her arms ached from holding on, but she didn't let go. Finally, Liam pulled into an underground parking garage beneath a building Cora didn't recognize. He killed the engine, climbed off, helped her down. Cora's legs shook so badly she could barely stand. Where are we? She asked. Backup location. Henry set it up 6 months ago in case everything went to hell. Liam pulled out his phone, checked it. His expression went dark. They found the other safe houses. All of them. They're systematically eliminating anyone loyal to me. How many people? 12 confirmed dead. Another 8 missing. Cora felt her stomach turn. Liam, this is what war looks like. His voice was flat, empty. People die. Usually the ones who didn't deserve it. Henry is probably dead. Liam's jaw tightened. He knew what he was doing when he stayed behind. Cora grabbed his face, forced him to look at her. This isn't your fault. Yes, it is. I started this. I chose to dismantle the empire. I chose you over them. His voice cracked. And now people who trusted me are dying because I was selfish enough to want a different life. You're not selfish. Yes, I am. He pulled away from her, started pacing. I'm the most selfish person alive, because I looked at an empire built on 40 years of blood and decided it wasn't worth preserving if I couldn't have what I wanted. He stopped, looked at her. And what I wanted was you. Tears burned Cora's eyes. So what do we do now? Liam pulled the laptop out of the backpack, opened it, stared at the screen. I'm down to the final transfers, he said. 10 more accounts, 10 more properties. If I can finish this, if I can liquidate everything before they find us again, there won't be anything left to fight over. How long? An hour, maybe 2. And if they find us before you're finished? Liam looked at her. His eyes were dark, hollow. But underneath the exhaustion was something that looked like peace. Then we die, he said simply. But at least we die choosing our own lives instead of living someone else's. Cora walked to him, took his face in her hands, kissed him like the world was ending, because maybe it was. Finish it, she whispered against his mouth. Liam nodded, sat down, started typing, and Cora stood beside him watching the final pieces of an empire dissolve into nothing. In fact, they had 45 minutes of peace. Then Liam's phone rang. Not his mother this time, Marcus Hale. Liam answered, put it on speaker. You cost me $3 billion today, Marcus said. His voice was calm, too calm, the kind of calm that preceded violence. That's $3 billion in Hale family investments you liquidated without authorization. I liquidated Donovan Holdings, Liam said. Your family shouldn't have been invested if you didn't want to lose. We had a deal. We had a marriage contract. I voided it. By refusing my daughter and running away with a translator? Marcus laughed. It wasn't a pleasant sound. You know what happens to men who break deals in our world, Liam? I don't care. You should, because I just authorized a bounty on your head. $5 million to whoever brings you to me alive. $10 million if they bring the girl too. Cora's blood went cold. She has nothing to do with this, Liam said. She has everything to do with this. She's the reason you destroyed yourself. Marcus paused. You have 12 hours to turn yourself in. If you don't, I'll make sure every enforcer in Boston is hunting you, and when we find you, and we will find you, I'll make sure you watch her die before I kill you. The line went dead. Liam stood, grabbed the laptop, started shutting it down. What are you doing? Cora asked. I'm done. But you're not finished. I don't care. He shoved the laptop into the backpack, grabbed her hand. Marcus Hale just put bounties on both our heads. Every criminal in Boston is going to be hunting us. We need to leave. Now. Where? Canada. Tonight. I have a contact in Montreal who can get us across the border with false papers. Liam. We're leaving, he said. His voice was hard, final. I'm not letting you die because I was too stubborn to walk away when I should have. Cora grabbed his jacket. You can't run from this. Watch me. If you leave now, they'll hunt you for the rest of your life. Then we spend the rest of our lives running, but at least we'll be alive. That's not a life. It's the only one we have left. He pulled her toward the exit. Come on, we're wasting time. The parking garage door exploded inward. 6 SUVs roared inside, tires screaming, headlights blinding. Men poured out, dozens of them, armed, masked. Liam shoved Cora behind a concrete pillar, raised his gun, but there were too many, far too many. Within seconds, they were surrounded. A man stepped forward, older, gray hair, expensive suit, Marcus Hale himself. He looked at Liam with the cold satisfaction of a hunter who'd finally cornered his prey. I gave you 12 hours, Marcus said. You lasted 45 minutes. I'm almost disappointed. Liam kept his gun raised. If you're going to kill us, do it fast. Oh, I'm not going to kill you. Not yet. Marcus smiled. First, you're going to watch everything you tried to build with her burn to ash. Then you're going to beg me to end it. He gestured. 2 enforcers grabbed Cora. She screamed. Liam lunged forward. Something hit him from behind, hard. He went down. The last thing he saw before darkness took him was Cora's face, terrified and furious and beautiful, as they dragged her away. Then nothing. Liam woke up tasting blood. His head throbbed. His vision swam. He tried to move his hands and realized they were zip-tied behind his back to a metal chair bolted to a concrete floor. The room around him was empty except for a single hanging light bulb and a drain in the center of the floor. The kind of room where people disappeared. He tested the zip ties. Tight. Professional. No give. His ribs screamed when he breathed. Someone had worked him over while he was unconscious. Methodical damage designed to hurt without killing. The door opened. Marcus Hale walked in, followed by 2 enforcers. "You're awake," Marcus said. "Good. I was starting to worry we'd hit you too hard." Liam spat blood onto the concrete. "Where is she?" "The translator? Safe. For now." Marcus pulled up a chair, sat down facing him. "Let's talk about what happens next." "There's nothing to talk about." "I disagree." Marcus leaned forward. "You cost me $3 billion, Liam. You destroyed alliances that took decades to build. You embarrassed my family by rejecting my daughter in front of the entire syndicate." He paused. "But I'm a reasonable man, so I'm going to give you a choice." "I'm not interested in your choices." "You should be, because one of them ends with Cora Whitmore walking out of here alive." Liam's chest tightened. "What do you want?" "Reinstate the Empire, reverse the liquidation, marry Vivian, and spend the rest of your life rebuilding what you tried to destroy." Marcus smiled. "Do that, and I'll let your translator disappear. New identity, new city. She'll never see you again, but she'll live. And if I refuse, then I'll bring her in here. I'll make you watch while my men take turns breaking her. And when they're finished, I'll put a bullet in her head and make you live with the memory." Liam felt rage burn through his veins like acid. "You're a monster!" "No, I'm a businessman protecting his investments." Marcus stood. "You have 1 hour to decide. Choose the Empire and save her, or choose her and watch her die." He walked out. The door locked behind him. Liam sat alone in the concrete room and felt the weight of impossible choices crushing down on him for what felt like the 1,000th time in his life. Except this time, there was no clever way out, no hidden exit. No. Henry appearing through a window with guns blazing. Just a choice between the woman he loved and the empire he'd spent 7 years trying to escape. He closed his eyes, thought about his father dying in a parking garage, thought about 7 years of blood and violence and decisions that ate away at his soul, one compromise at a time. Thought about Cora sitting beside him at a wedding reception while the Bartok lullaby played, and for the first time in his life, he'd felt like something other than a weapon. Then he opened his eyes and made his decision. The door opened again 30 minutes later. Not Marcus this time. Cordelia Donovan. She walked in wearing the same elegant composure she always wore. Perfect hair, perfect posture, perfect mask hiding whatever she actually felt underneath. "Hello, Liam," she said quietly. He stared at her. "Come to watch your son get executed?" "Come to offer you a way out." She moved closer, studied his face with an expression that was almost maternal. Almost. "Marcus Hale is a greedy fool who thinks money solves everything, but I know my son better than that." "Do you?" "Yes." She pulled a knife from her coat pocket, moved behind him, cut the zip ties. Liam's hands came free. He rubbed his wrists, stared at his mother. "Why?" he asked. "Batsum." "Because despite everything you've done, despite the fact that you destroyed your father's legacy, you're still my son." Cordelia's voice was quiet, controlled, but there was something underneath it now, something that sounded almost like grief. "And I'd rather see you alive and gone than dead and mourned." She handed him a set of keys, a phone, a passport. "There's a car in the loading dock. Gray sedan, Massachusetts plates." She paused. "The girl is in a room 3 doors down the hall. 2 guards. They're not expecting trouble from inside the building." Liam looked at the keys in his hand, then at his mother. "What happens to you when Marcus finds out you helped us?" "I'll handle Marcus. I've been handling men like him for 40 years. "Mother—" "Go," Cordelia interrupted. Her voice was sharp now, final. "Before I change my mind." Liam stood, moved toward the door, stopped. "Why did you set up the offshore account?" he asked quietly. "Why did you frame Cora?" Cordelia's expression didn't change. Because I thought if I removed her from the equation, you'd come back to us. You'd marry Vivian. You'd preserve the empire. She paused. I was wrong. Yes, you were. I know. For the first time in his life, Liam saw his mother's perfect mask crack slightly. Just slightly. I wanted you to have the life your father never could. Power without violence, control without fear. I thought the empire was the only way to achieve that. Her voice dropped. But watching you destroy yourself for a woman who makes you happy taught me something I should have learned decades ago. What's that? That some prisons are built by the people who love us most. Liam's throat tightened. Then Cordelia straightened. The mask slid back into place. 3 doors down, 2 guards. You'll have 10 minutes before Marcus realizes something's wrong. Thank you, Liam said quietly. Don't thank me. Just survive. She walked toward the door, paused, looked back at him one last time. And Liam? Don't come back. Not for me, not for the Empire, not for anything. Because if you do, I won't be able to save you twice. She left. Liam stood alone holding the keys and felt something that might have been love for the cold woman who'd just set him free. Then he grabbed the knife she'd left on the chair and walked into the hallway. The building was a warehouse, old, abandoned, the kind of place the Donovan Syndicate used for interrogations and executions and problems that needed to disappear. Liam moved quietly through the dim corridors. His ribs screamed with every breath. His head still throbbed. But adrenaline pushed him forward. 3 doors down. He counted. 1, 2, 3. He pressed his ear against the door, heard voices inside, male, casual, guards who weren't expecting trouble. Liam tested the handle, unlocked. He took a breath, tightened his grip on the knife. Then he kicked the door open and moved. The first guard didn't have time to reach for his weapon. Liam hit him in the throat, hard. The man went down choking. The second guard raised his gun. Liam closed the distance before he could fire, grabbed his wrist, twisted. The gun clattered to the floor. They struggled. The guard was bigger, stronger. But Liam had spent his entire life surviving violence. The knife found flesh. The guard collapsed. Liam stood over the bodies, breathing hard. Blood on his hands, blood on his shirt, blood everywhere. Then he heard a sound behind him. He spun. Cora sat zip-tied to a chair in the corner of the room, duct tape over her mouth, eyes wide with terror and relief. Liam crossed to her in 3 strides, ripped the tape off. Cut the zip ties. Are you hurt? He asked urgently. She shook her head, threw her arms around him, held on like she was drowning, and he was the only thing keeping her afloat. I thought they were going to kill you, she whispered against his chest. They were. My mother stopped them. Cora pulled back, stared at him. Cordelia? I'll explain later. We need to move. He grabbed her hand. They ran. Down the hallway. Past storage rooms and empty offices and evidence of decades of violence embedded in concrete walls. Behind them, alarms started blaring. Someone had found the guards. Liam pulled Cora faster. They burst through a door into a loading dock, found the gray sedan exactly where Cordelia said it would be. He threw her the keys. You drive. What? Why? Because I can barely see straight, and we need to get out of Boston in the next 10 minutes. Cora caught the keys. They climbed in. The engine roared to life. She floored it. The sedan shot out of the loading dock into cold December daylight. Behind them, men poured out of the warehouse. Guns raised, shouting. Bullets shattered the rear window. Cora didn't slow down. She navigated through industrial streets and side roads in neighborhoods Liam barely recognized, her knuckles white on the steering wheel, her jaw set with determination. Where are we going? She asked. North, Canada. We cross the border before they can mobilize enough people to stop us. What about your liquidation? The Empire? I don't care about the Empire anymore. Liam touched her face. I only care about getting you out alive. Cora's eyes burned with tears, but she didn't slow down. They drove. Fun. They made it to New Hampshire before Liam's phone rang. He stared at the screen. Unknown number. He answered. Put it on speaker. Agent Chen's voice filled the car. Mr. Donovan, I was wondering when you'd surface. What do you want? I want you to turn yourself in before this becomes a manhunt that ends with both of you dead. Not interested. Then let me make you interested. Agent Chen's voice hardened. Marcus Hale just called a meeting of every syndicate family on the East Coast. He's putting out a bounty large enough that every criminal from Boston to Miami is going to be hunting you. You won't make it to Canada. You won't make it past the Massachusetts border. I'll take my chances. And what about Cora Whitmore? You willing to bet her life on your chances? Liam's jaw tightened. I'm offering you a deal, Agent Chen continued. Turn yourself in, testify against the Donovan Syndicate and the Hale family. Give us everything you know about organized crime operations in Boston. Do that, and I'll put you both in witness protection. New identities, new lives, far away from here. You want me to betray everyone I've ever known. I want you to do the right thing for once in your life. Liam looked at Cora. She was staring at the road ahead with an expression he couldn't read. What do you think? He asked quietly. I think, Cora said slowly, that we've been running from choices for 3 months now, and maybe it's time to stop running and face what we've done. If I testify, I'll destroy lives. People who trusted me. People who protected me. People who were going to kill you 2 hours ago, Cora said. People who kidnapped me, who put bounties on our heads. She glanced at him. You spent 7 years trying to build something better than your father's empire. Maybe testifying is how you finish what you started. Liam stared at her, at the woman who'd somehow become the only thing he cared about surviving for. Then he said into the phone, I want immunity for both of us, full immunity, and witness protection that actually works. Done, Agent Chen said. Where are you? Route 93 North, just past the New Hampshire border. There's a rest stop in 15 miles. Pull over. I'll have agents there in 40 minutes. And if Marcus finds us first, then you'd better hope you're as good at surviving as your reputation suggests. The line went dead. Cora kept driving. Liam reached over, took her hand, held it, while the December landscape blurred past the windows and the life they'd been trying to build collapsed into something completely different. Are you sure about this? He asked quietly. No, Cora admitted, but I'm sure about you, and that's enough. They pulled into the rest stop 20 minutes later. Liam's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Agents are delayed. ETA 60 minutes. Stay in the car. Don't move. He showed it to Cora. She nodded, kept the engine running. They waited. The rest stop was mostly empty. A few cars, a family with young kids, an elderly couple walking a small dog. Normal people living normal lives. The kind of life Liam had never had, and wasn't sure he'd know how to navigate, even if he survived long enough to try. What do you think witness protection looks like? Cora asked suddenly. I don't know. Suburbs, probably. Boring jobs. Neighbors who ask too many questions at block parties. Sounds terrible. Sounds like heaven. Cora smiled slightly. Then her expression shifted. Liam? Yeah? If we do this, if we testify and disappear, we can't ever come back. No visiting Maya. No checking on your mother. No closure with anything we're leaving behind. I know. Are you okay with that? Liam looked at her, really looked at her, at the woman who'd refused to take money and walk away, who'd stayed beside him while his empire collapsed, who'd somehow convinced a man built from violence that he was capable of something gentler. I've spent my entire life being someone I didn't choose to be, he said quietly. If disappearing means I get to choose who I am for once, if it means I get to wake up next to you without wondering when someone's going to try to kill us, then yes, I'm okay with that. Cora leaned across the center console, kissed him softly. Then let's disappear, she whispered. Liam kissed her back. Then headlights flooded the car from behind. Not one vehicle. 3. Black SUVs. Tinted windows. Liam's stomach dropped. That's not the FBI. How do you know? Because federal agents don't drive in formation. The SUVs surrounded them. Doors opened. Men climbed out. Not Marcus's enforcers, not FBI agents. These men wore suits, moved with military precision, and their weapons were held with the casual familiarity of professionals. A man approached the driver's side window, knocked. Cora looked at Liam. What do I do? Roll it down, slowly. She did. The man leaned down, older, scarred face, cold eyes. Mr. Donovan, he said, my name is Vincent Calabrese. I represent the Calabrese family out of New York. He paused. We've been watching your situation with great interest. I'm not interested in whatever you're selling, Liam said. I'm not selling anything. I'm offering protection. Vincent glanced at the road. Marcus Hale put a bounty on your head, $10 million. Every criminal on the East Coast is hunting you, but my family, we have a different perspective. What perspective is that? That a man willing to burn his own empire rather than live by someone else's rules is exactly the kind of man we want in our organization. Vincent smiled. It wasn't warm. Work for us. Use your skills to build something new, and we'll make sure Marcus Hale never touches you or the girl. And if I refuse? Then you're on your own, and you won't survive the night. Liam's jaw tightened. He looked at Cora. She was staring at Vincent with an expression that was equal parts fear and fury. We're done with this life, Liam said. Both of us. Are you? Vincent's smile widened. Because from where I'm standing, you're about to trade one prison for another. Witness protection means new identities, constant surveillance, living in fear that someone will recognize you. Is that really freedom? It's more freedom than we have now. Maybe. Or maybe you're just too tired to see another option. Vincent straightened. You have 5 minutes to decide. Work with us and live on your terms. Or trust the FBI and spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder. He walked back to his SUV. Cora grabbed Liam's arm. We can't work for them. I know. If we do this, it never ends. We'll just be trading one empire for another. I know, Liam interrupted. But he's right about one thing. Witness protection isn't freedom. It's just a different cage. Then what do we do? Liam stared at the SUVs surrounding them, at the men waiting for his answer, at the impossible choice between survival and freedom. Then he looked at Cora and made a decision that felt like the first honest choice he'd made in his entire life. We run, he said. What? We run. Right now. Before the FBI gets here. Before Vincent loses patience. Before Marcus finds us. He grabbed her face. We disappear. No protection. No deals. No organizations. Just us and whatever money I managed to hide before they caught me. Liam, we'll be hunted for the rest of our lives. Maybe. Or maybe we get lucky. Maybe we disappear so completely that eventually they stop looking. His voice was urgent now, desperate. But at least it'll be our choice. Our life. Not something handed to us by people who want to control us. Cora stared at him, tears in her eyes, fear and hope warring across her face. Then she nodded. Together, she said. Together. Cora shifted into drive. Then she floored it. The sedan shot forward, not toward the SUVs, toward the access road leading away from the rest stop. Behind them, men shouted, engines roared to life. But Cora was already gone. She drove like someone who'd finally stopped being afraid, fast, reckless, taking turns that made Liam's ribs scream but put distance between them and the vehicles chasing them. They made it to a residential area, abandoned the sedan, stole a pickup truck from a parking lot, drove north until the sun set and the December cold seeped through the broken heater. By midnight, they'd crossed into Canada using back roads and a border crossing so remote it didn't have guards. By morning, they were 300 miles away from Boston, and for the first time in 3 months, Liam felt like he could breathe. 4 months later, autumn settled over Montreal. Cora stood in the small studio apartment they'd rented under false names and watched rain streak down the window while coffee brewed on the counter. The apartment was tiny, barely furnished, nothing like the luxury Liam had lived in for 35 years. But it was theirs. No bodyguards outside the door, no board meetings, no FBI surveillance, no bounty hunters. Just a quiet life built from translation work and cash-only jobs, and the careful anonymity of two people who'd walked away from everything. The bathroom door opened. Liam emerged wearing jeans and a worn sweater. His hair was longer now. He'd grown a beard. The scar above his temple was visible without expensive suits to distract from it. He looked different. He looked free. Coffee? Cora asked. Please. She poured 2 cups, handed him one. They stood together by the window watching rain fall on a city that didn't know their real names and didn't care about their history. "Do you miss it?" Cora asked quietly. "Boston?" "The empire, the power, being someone people feared." Liam was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I miss Henry. I miss the few people who were loyal because they believed in me, not because they were afraid." He paused. "But the empire? The power? No, I don't miss being a weapon." "What do you miss?" "My mother," he admitted, "even though she tried to destroy us, even though she built half the prison I was living in." He took a breath. "But I don't miss it enough to go back." Cora leaned against him. "Do you think they're still looking?" "Maybe. Probably. I try not to think about it." "What do you think about instead?" Liam set down his coffee, turned to face her. "I think about waking up every morning without wondering if today's the day someone tries to kill me. I think about translating poetry with you in cafes where nobody knows my last name. I think about growing old doing something that doesn't involve blood." He touched her face. "I think about you." Cora's throat tightened. "We're going to spend the rest of our lives running. Maybe. We'll never be completely safe. Probably not. We gave up everything for this?" "Yes," Liam agreed. "We did. Was it worth it?" He kissed her, soft, certain, the kind of kiss that tasted like rain and coffee and all the choices they'd made to get here. "Every second," he whispered against her mouth. Cora smiled, then she pulled away. "I have something for you." "What?" She walked to the small desk in the corner, pulled out a cassette tape. Old, scratched case. The Bartok Lullaby. "I found a tape deck at a thrift store," she said. "Thought maybe we could listen to it." Liam stared at the tape, at the reminder of the night they'd met, the song that had connected them before either of them understood what they were building. "Play it," he said quietly. Cora slid the tape into the ancient deck, pressed play. The familiar melody filled the small apartment. Bartok's Lullaby. The same song that had played at her sister's wedding. The same song her father used to hum while cooking dinner. The same song that had made a man carrying an empire stop and sit with a woman carrying grief. Liam held out his hand. "Dance with me." Cora took it. They moved slowly across the worn apartment floor. No crystal chandeliers, no marble, no elegant ballroom. Just two people who'd survived violence and betrayal and impossible choices to reach this quiet moment. When the song ended, Cora rested her head against Liam's chest. "What happens now?" "Now?" Liam's arms tightened around her. "Now we live. We translate poetry. We learn French properly. We eat too much poutine. We build something small and ordinary and completely ours. And if they find us, then we run again. And we keep running until we're too old to run anymore." He pulled back, looked at her with eyes that had finally stopped looking like weapons. "But until then, we live." Cora smiled through tears. "Together? Always." Outside, rain continued to fall on Montreal. Somewhere in Boston, empires still rose and fell. Syndicates still fought over territory. The FBI still hunted criminals. Cordelia Donovan still ruled whatever remained of the family. But in a small studio apartment in a city that didn't care about mafia families or impossible love stories, two people who'd walked away from everything danced to a Bartok lullaby and chose their own ending. And for the first time in either of their lives, that was enough.